Hey everybody, I'm back, and there is a new shark movie to talk about. Just a word of caution for the people sitting in the first two rows, you will get wet. Let's get started. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Hello my friends, one and all, welcome to Thumb Together, and today we're going to be talking about the MEG together. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for tuning in. As always, if you enjoy this video, please feel free to give it a thumbs up and give some love to that subscribe button as well. Do you like sharks? Then you will like the MEG. It's as simple as that. I mean, it's not anything fancy. It's a movie about a shark munching on some folks, and that's it. You know, I just want to mention before we dive in, you know how movie theaters always try to cater to a target audience when it's deciding what trailers will go in front of what movies. For example, if you watch a superhero movie, chances are you're going to see a lot of superhero trailers. Well, there's not a whole lot of shark movies on the horizon, but somehow the trailers that we got before the MEG all seemed to tie into the theme of water, which I thought was really impressive. I mean, we got the Godzilla movie with all the monsters coming out of the ocean. We got the house with a clock in its walls where every scene it was raining like really, really hard all over the place. And then we got Aquaman, which is pretty much a movie about water at this point. So good job to whoever cut those trailers together. You made me wet. So, what is the MEG? Well, the MEG is exactly what you'd expect, my friend. It is a shark movie. It is a movie about a bunch of people out in the middle of the ocean who are exploring because they want to see how far the ocean floor goes and discover new worlds and whatnot. All in the name of science, of course. They're trying to chart the ocean floor. But they go past the point, you know, where most people haven't gone before, and what happens? They end up catching the attention of a megalodon who's like, hey, what's up? You're kind of in my home. And then he starts eating people. And one thing leads to another, and he worms his way back up to the surface, and all of a sudden you have a megalodon along the coast of the Philippines, and it is ready and willing to eat everything that moves until it's put down. And as we all know, even in real life, when a large animal is threatening our livelihood, the only logical choice of action is to pick up the phone and call Jason Statham. And that's what they do. They call Jason Statham. They say, hey, Jason, we need you to rescue our divers who are trapped underground and also, kill a big shark for us. And he's like, whatever, I'll do it. And then he helps them. And there you go. That's the MEG. Of course, it's there's a little bit more to it than that. We spend a nice little chunk of time at the beginning of the film sort of getting to meet all the characters, and there are a lot of characters, and the film does a pretty good, brisk job of just wheeling them out one by one like some kind of big all-you-can-eat buffet, and we can really get a chance to know them personally before their limbs are torn off. Rainn Wilson's character is meeting these people for the first time as well, so we kind of get introduced to them through him, which is a clever way of, you know, showing us who all these people are without having to stop the movie in its tracks and point to everybody's name tag. So some divers make it to this bottom area of a trench, and they attract the attention of the MEG, and the plot gets going. And what was really nice about the plot of the MEG was that it was told in many different levels, and it kept sort of changing the game and changing the environment and changing the methods with which the characters were trying to capture or kill the shark so that it would never feel stale. And I liked that because I think I was prepared for just a movie of a bunch of people on a big boat, you know, leaning over the rail and shooting harpoons at a shark for 140 minutes. And that's thankfully not what we got. Instead, the opening third is about rescuing these divers who got trapped at the bottom of this trench with the MEG and getting Jason Statham on board. And then once that was done and sort of the MEG's existence was discovered by all these humans, then it became a matter of finding different ways to kill it, essentially. First they tried swimming out and shooting it with a harpoon, and that didn't quite work too well, and they tried to poison it. Then they went cage diving and tried to stick it with a tracking beacon. Rainn Wilson is ordering helicopters to just come and blow it up with heavy automatic weapons. And nothing was really seeming to do the trick. But it wasn't because the shark was just an invincible god thing, which was nice. You know, it's not like a bullet just bounced off the shark's eyeball like in Superman Returns. No, the shark could get pretty banged up. And I liked that about it, so that when errors were happening, they were very human errors, which was cool. For example, the cage diving scene. Li Bingbing is about to go down into this cage, And, Jason Statham is knocking around the cage. He's like, I don't know if I trust this thing. It doesn't feel sturdy. And Ruby Rose, who I'm assuming built the cage, she's like, nah, babe, trust me, it's sturdy. That's like a really thick material, polycarbon or something. I don't know science materials, but she's like, don't worry, it's really thick. I know how big that shark is, but it's not going to break this. It's impossible. It will not break through this material. And so she goes down in the cage, and the shark comes and it starts biting at it. And you know what? Despite how big and strong the shark is, Ruby Rose was right. It is not going to break through that cage. And that was cool. It's like, it's not just this paranormal freak of nature monster that can't be stopped. The human stuff is working, but things are still going wrong that they don't expect. Because the shark realizes it can't break the glass with its teeth. So what does it do? It tries to swallow the cage whole, because guess what? It's big enough to do that. That was one of my favorite moments of the movie, because it's a great example of setting up a scenario, explaining how the scenario will work, and then infusing that scenario with a problem, and having all of it be cohesive and sort of work together and not contradict anything that has come before. So surprisingly, the script for this big dumb shark movie where Jason Statham shoots harpoons, it is a pretty tight script. There's nothing in it that I could really, off the top of my head, look at as a plot hole. Things are going wrong, and a really big shark happens to be swimming around. And then the film culminates in this really beautifully shot, gorgeous, colorful beach sequence where the Meg spies a beach full of civilians with various rubber beach accessories. And the Meg's like, you know what? I'm having that. And it swims over to attack all these people. And the good folks of the SS Jason Statham are given the huge responsibility of having to attract the shark away from the civilians so that they can attack it. And again, that's an interesting problem and a very realistic one. If you have a boat, a secure boat with 8 people on it, and you have 2,000 people just swimming in open water, which one do you think a shark is going to go to? It creates this interesting problem of having to first get the shark's attention away from these, happy, smiling, overweight children whose plump, juicy bodies are just churning the waters red with blood, and the shark is salivating. I'm getting hungry. So you got all these poor souls swimming around the beach, trying to have a good time, and then all of a sudden there's a megalodon coming at them, and they're just like, oh shit! Save me, Aquaman! And of course it all ends how you would expect. Nothing really sort of turns you for a loop. There is one kind of cool little twister in the middle, but nothing so severe that, you'll be talking about it for the rest of the month or even the rest of the week. But all in all, The Meg is a really fun shark movie that was better than I expected, much better written than I expected. It delivered exactly on what it promised, with a little bit extra thrown in for good measure. It even had a lot of likable characters. Usually in these movies you get a hero who's supposed to be the likable one, even though he's kind of as approachable as a toilet brush. And then you have a romantic interest who's boring, and then an asshole who's boring because he's just an asshole. And everybody's a stereotype. In this movie, nobody was really a stereotype. They filled stereotypical roles. Rainn Wilson is a very stereotypical type of character, but nobody felt two-dimensional. Everybody felt like they had a personality on top of just, I'm the doctor, I'm the hero, I'm the girl. Everybody was a human being, which was cool because you know what sharks like to eat? Human beings. See, it all ties up. The thing about summer blockbusters that we have to remember is that there are 4 different kinds of summer blockbusters. There are May blockbusters, June blockbusters, July blockbusters, and August blockbusters. And The Meg was very much an August blockbuster. But it was a very solid one that I'm happy to have seen, and I had fun. And you know what? If this movie was on again somewhere, if I was over at somebody's house and they put it on, I wouldn't mind watching it again. This might be a premature statement to make. And it might be a meaningless statement to make because, frankly, I don't watch a lot of shark movies. But right now, if I had to rank them, I would say Jaws and then The Meg. Again, I've probably seen 3 shark movies. That's a lie. I've seen all 4 of the Jaws ones. So there you go. Out of 5 shark movies I have seen, The Meg is the second best. Do with that information what you will. Anyway, that has been The Meg. That has been Thumb Together. My name is Andrew Fantasia. Thank you so much for tuning in and watching me talk about sharks and baldmen for however long this video ends up being. I will see you here next time. Until then, adios.